You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the top 8 of our current ETS Tournament Series. We are here joined with Sir Rhino.
Hello, hello.
My name is LocoPojo. Before we begin, I just wanted to mention our Patreon. If you guys are interested in supporting aReNGee Eternal, then you can go over to the Patreon site and or you can follow us on Twitch. We currently have some new goals. We're working on guaranteed prize pools for all of our major tournaments. We've actually reached our monthly Sunday tournament goal of $200 a month. So we will be having the first of those next week. And at 300, we have the expanded streaming network, 400 World Championships live on location. And then we also have site migration and a secondary stream for major events at 500. So if you're enjoying the show and you want us to show your support, go ahead and click the follow button on Twitch. And if you want to do more, you can go ahead and see our Patreon. And that'll be good stuff there. Yeah, so you can check out all the goals and rewards at patreon.com/aReNGee Eternal.
All right, so we're getting ready to roll with this top 8. The players have been picked. We've got quite a variety of decks here, I would say. We've got some aggro, we've got some control, we've got some mid-range of all sorts. We've got Unearthly rocking the Rhino plate. He'll be going up against ECV, which we've been seeing massively pilot that Chalice control list. We've also got Brady Kin, who we saw earlier on Voto Combo, up against Voignamir, who we saw also on Rhino plate, I believe, or some sort of Rhino.
We could definitely see some rematches here.
Yeah, we'll be seeing some rematches. We've caught a lot of these up on coverage. I believe we've also seen Visarius earlier today. I believe he lost to Unearthly. He's on a Felm Spy Master kind of mid-range list. He'll be up against Childroland, who is on a Burn Queen list. Yes, one of the featuring Rapid Shot. Still actually a card you can play, it turns out. And then to round out our top 8, we've got Tabu, who is also on Burn Queen, featuring 4 Rapid Shots. And then maybe next time, who, let me double check, is on another Chalice deck, TJP Chalice. So 2 Chalice decks, 2 Burn Queen decks, 2 Rhino decks, and of course the requisite Felm.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see a Rapid Shot Queen deck making the top 8. I don't think that card has gone down in value as much as people have said that it has. I think that
yeah, if everybody's still trying to block and play time value units, Rapid Shot's going to be a card I'm happy to play.
Yeah, so pretty exciting stuff. Our match for the day is, or our match for the hour, as the case may be, is Visarius versus Child Roland, who's playing on Burn Queen as well. No 2 Rapid Shots in this one, but a little bit less aggressive than the Visarius.
Yep, Burn Queen versus Felm Spy Master. Burn Queen being a deck we've seen in tournaments past. We didn't see it a whole lot, I guess, last week, but it's made a comeback now. It's fine. People trying to block, and this deck likes it when you try to block because the queens come down, the Rapid Shots come down, the quick draw units, the deadly units, the overwhelm units. They're happy to attack through, backed up by some nice burn and obliterate and flame blast. So it's trying to kill you quick, and it does a pretty good job of it, as we can see with two copies of the deck in the top 8 today. Meanwhile, Visarius, we saw him lose earlier today, but clearly did a lot of winning today with this Felm Spy. How about we talk about that real quick?
Yeah, we've seen this deck once already. It uses Midnight Gale and Beast Caller's Amulet in addition to Scouting Party and Westwind Herald as infiltrates, along with Spy Master for a 4/4 that can repeat those infiltrates. Westwind Herald and Scouting Party in particular lead to a lot of extra value. And if you can't deal with the Westwind Herald on 5, that can be a crushing defeat for you early in the game. But the deck is actually pretty low to the ground and plays somewhat like an aggressive to mid-range tempo deck. It's generally very fast. It's got a lot of stuff going on with those Beast Colors Amulets and those Midnight Gales. And then it's only in the late game when the Heralds come out that you start to wonder if you should have spent all of your removal on all of those early threats, or if you're going to have even more problems with the Heralds later.
It looks like this match is underway. And both players with pretty nice hands, good starts. Child Rolling gets to open up on the play, it looks like. Gets to have the 1-drop into Annihilate, takes out the 3/3 that could block his Pyro Knight. Visarius, of course, can choose to either clean up this Pyro Knight eventually with this Bear's Favor, but for now, choosing to instead play out threats and try and go the distance.
Yeah, it looks like with the favors here, Visarius has some pretty good pickups against the Howling Gale, so that's going to be pretty solid for him overall. And yeah, the Midnight Gale is just generally like a solid card in these matchups because of the extra health that it can give you.
Yep. So simply put, the Queen deck kind of stumbled on power, didn't have an answer to these Midnight Gales, and they're just kind of running away with the game now. There's a chance that Child Rolling can get back in this. He is going to at least play a large flyer into Impending Doom here. Visarius will have the option on these upcoming turns, or at least we think we'll play Impending Doom here, to swing in Vera's Favor or something like that. But we'll see if that happens.
The main issue here is that with an aggressive deck like this, you don't have good answers to Scouting Party. You're usually just trying to push over the Scouting Party and just ignore it completely because it's such a big tempo loss in the early game when you have all of those Dooms and flyers. But Visarius is still at 25, so there's not really any situation where Roland's in a good position.
Yeah, and he goes from 25 to looks like 33 here. 34.
Visarius can pick up Impending Doom with just Avara's Favor, although it's tempting to permafrost it just to push the damage. I think that in this situation that looks just fine.
Yep. So see here, Child Roland picked up a torch, but opts to just play another Impending Doom instead. And now the permafrost is going to give Visarius lethal, not necessarily this turn, but the Impending Doom tick next turn will do it, unless Child Roland wants to kill his own unit. But yeah, sees the writing on the wall and scoop it up here.
Looks pretty unlikely to be an effective finisher here. So the Scouting Party, of course, does seal things up, and Roland forfeits with Visarius at 38 health. That's kind of the opposite of what you expect a Burn Queen deck to do.
Yep, so we are in the top 8, so this is best of 5, which means the players will not be sideboarding just yet. They've got to play one more game before they sideboard, and the remaining 3 games will be a sideboarded game.
Yeah, it looks like we have same matchup. There is Felm Banner, Primal Sigil. It looks like Visarius has a handful of just nothing but power, so he's got to throw that back and see if he can find something a little bit better.
Yeah, well, Child Rolling gets to open up on an Oni Ronin, so that's a nice spot to be. He's on the play again, which is also very nice. And Visarius has to decide now, Felm Banner or Seek Power. I like Seek Power here. Felm Banner can occasionally not be depleted, whereas Seek Power is always depleted. To view it, but it's a minor thing either way, I suppose.
Yeah, if you're pushing for Champion of Cunning, then those Diplomatic Seals are generally better to play first. But overall, it looks like
that's true
too. Going to be pretty tricky either way. I think that with only one champion, it's kind of a tough draw either way. So
yeah, so this
second primal.
Yep, so he's got to decide either to get a wind out here or try and answer this Ronin. Opts to go with the wind, and then he's got to decide if he wants to block this Onu. Other thing, Whispering Wind when your hand is full of spells and not power isn't honestly that appealing. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he blocked, but he opts not to. His hand is all removals. He'll just deal with this Oni Ronin at some point.
Has a hand that's quite capable of dealing with most of the stuff on the board. Roland has to decide if the Whispering Wind alone is worth any sort of removal, and it looks like that's probably not going to be the case. Visarius doesn't have great plays here on his current turn. He gets to Sabotage. He gets to...
Yeah, it's not often you see a whiff Sabotage in that scenario, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's probably means that Child Roland is sitting on several Bandit Queens. Indeed, that may be the case, but that means that Visarius is going to have a harder time dealing with an aggressive deck. He might actually want to sit back and block with Whispering Wind this time.
Well, if he suspects a handful of Bandit Queens, it's not like you can block any with Whispering Wind, so he opts to go in. but doesn't discard anything because it's not really a whole lot worth discarding. He'd love to not have Crystallize in his hand, but at the same time, it's not like he wants that to be a scouting party.
Roland is, in fact, sitting on those Bandit Queens. He's got 2 Bandit Queens and a Soulfire Drake in his hand. The Bandit Queens are 4 damage apiece, so that's a reasonable amount of extra push and gives him a lot of that burn that he's actually looking for. But the Midnight Gale is, again, not an answerable card for him.
Yeah, it's not an answerable card except for the part where he just kills Visarius, and that's what he's going for here by dropping another Bandit Queen, and those War Cries from Oni Ronin ended up hitting a unit with Overwhelm. So he's got already 10 attack on board against an opponent at 7 life and a charging Drake ready to go in hand. So Visarius is in trouble here. It'd be awesome if he could cast Midnight Gale and Annihilate, but now he's got to decide if he wants to Feeding Time or do something else. To Feeding Time the Overwhelm unit.
Feeding Time on the Pyro Knight hurts a lot. It's definitely a good way to guarantee that it dies and doesn't come back, but at the same time, he's now risking a lot of health at this point.
All right.
And Child Roland does have the Soulfire Drake in his hand, so that's probably going to be game.
Well, yeah, the Soulfire Drake comes down, and wow, Visarius just scoops. He could have blocked the 5/2, taken 6, gone to 1. If he drew power, he would have had Midnight Gale plus Annihilate, so Annihilate would have taken out the 5/2. Could have gained 4. I mean, he wasn't dead yet, especially when your opponent, like, you whiffed on spells a couple turns back. I mean, he was certainly an underdog, but that may have been a premature scoop.
Yeah, he had a decent chance of coming back there, but it was always going to be a little bit tricky. Hitting that Sabotage against nothing definitely does hurt a lot, and it's going to be an interesting question whether he wants to hold on to 4 Sabotages in this setup.
Yeah, Sabotage is generally pretty nice against burn, although the Bandit Queen version is a bit more unit heavy. But there's still lots of things to hit, and one of your biggest paths to victory is Midnight Gale protected by Sabotage. Like, take out their torch, and if you don't take that torch out, you can take out their Obliterates or Flame Blast on the top end. I think you kind of just need the Sabotages for the early game interaction. Now, the backlashes, again, are another tricky thing to figure out. The Lightning Storms are also can be very powerful. They can clean up Bandit Queens. Lightning Storm plus Farrah's Favorite can deal with a Champion of Chaos or Instigator. So Visarius is kind of need to decide where he's going to go with this deck. If you bring in the Lightning Storms, your Whispering Winds are a little bit weaker. Same with your Westwind Heralds or Beast Colors Amulets. So he's got to decide how controlly he wants to get.
Yeah, that time around, he didn't really need the Whispering Winds all that much. He ended up choosing not to block with one that he probably could have saved himself a little bit of damage on. But I think overall, it's going to be tough to say what is best here. Recurring Nightmare is pretty cute, but not a good idea.
No.
I'm just noticing that in the sideboard now. I didn't see it before. Yeah, it's pretty adorable. He could go for like a more aggressive hand discount type thing where he sets up cards like Rain of Frogs and Lightning Storms. He could continue to keep the backlashes just to stay up ahead against the burn. But it's really going to be dependent on what he thinks that Child Roland is going to run out.
Well, we're about to find out as we're going into Game 3 here with the series tied up 1-1. Child Roland on the draw this time, but has the turn 1 Oni Ronin, and Visarius then Visarius sees that Ronin, gets to follow it up this turn with a Sabotage. Sees Quarry and Rapid Shot, gets his pick of the litter, and decides to go with the Quarry.
We have Suffocate on the Ronin as well, so Visarius is already a little bit ahead of time. He's got like a decent amount of aggression. He's actually going to get a Midnight Gale down, and it seems like Child Roland has not had answers to this Midnight Gale every single time that it's been played, which has been good for him.
Yeah, Stonescar basically needs Obliterate or a Torch here to deal with Midnight Gale.
Roland does have the Obliterate, but he's sitting on 4 power, so he's at least going to lose 4 health with a tempo. And that's a lot in a burn deck. Any amount of health that you can gain against a burn deck is really, really valuable.
Yeah, play versus draw is a big deal when you're both dealing with, aggressive mid-range decks. And the Felm deck Visarius is certainly enjoying having the play advantage this time around. That Obliterate is lurking to finally deal with this. Not for long as Visarius draws the Sabotage, gets that Obliterate, and Now Child Roland's in a rough spot here as far as racing goes.
Yeah, pretty tough deal. The Midnight Gale triggers again off of Cabal Spymaster, giving it flying and lifesteal. Big swings, big swings.
Man, Child Roland even opts to not attack with this dragon that we know is in hand. Instead, leaves back the Soulfire Drake because he knows really hard to race this 4/3 lifesteal. Visarius could get cute and instead permafrost and save this Annihilate. Also draws feeding time. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, feeding time's the perfect answer. Swinging
That's
in again, getting the 8 damage and the flying and lifesteal. But
Yep.
like, I think that overall we're looking at a pretty rough game for Child Roland. This is not going his way.
Opts to swing in again with the Queen, I guess, hoping to block with Rapid Shot here, but as we know, that's not going to go well for him.
Yeah, there wasn't anything to block anyways, so I think it's just sort of a desperation play. From here, we got Permafrost, and that will secure a lethal on Roland. I think that is the game, and we'll be going into game 4.
Yeah. Midnight Gale runs away with another one.
What's the score right now, Rhino?
Of cast Midnight Gales to win? Because it's like 100% or something. No. But yeah, they're up 2. Sorry, it's up 2-1 going into game 4 here.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get that last game for Visarius, or if Roland can pull it back.
Oh, we're going to 5. It's the top 8. It always goes to 5. It's fixed.
Yeah,
you
gotta go to 5, right? That's maximum drama. Very important.
Yeah, it's just more action, more fun for everybody. I think the only person that doesn't want this to go to 5 is just
Sabos and Suffocates. We've got the Beast Colors Amulet here. This is kind of cute, but not actually all that good against Burn. The Sabotage is nice, and so is the Suffocate, but he really just needs something to play.
Western Herald's a good way to like finish this game. It's really hard for Burn to kill it, but if that's your first play and you've got an essentially dead Amulet in hand, that's a little too ambitious for most people.
Yeah, I think part of what's going on here is that this is a Burn Queen deck without Suffocates, or at least not in the main board. So Visarius is capable of playing down like quite a few units that are actually like staying alive. The Midnight Gale is not particularly vulnerable to Annihilate or Suffocate. It's only vulnerable to Torch, and every time that it's hit, it's just been a really significant amount of damage against the Child Roland.
Well, Child Roland opts to Suffocate rather than play out a threat there.
I think he's maybe a bit on the defensive after losing the last 2 rounds. I mean, with a Burn deck, you really just kind of have to rush it, but
yeah,
see if this is going to help him out.
All right, Roland. Okay, so the 4/4 comes out against the 3/3, another difficult card for Stone Scar to really answer cleanly, but hey, this is what Rapid Shot's for, right? Bluff it like you got it, and yep. Visarius respects the Rapid Shot, doesn't block here. It's going to wait, I suppose, until he's got the Backlash up.
Yep, the Backlash does mean that he can call those bluffs, even if he doesn't have to use it, so that's a pretty big deal. At this point, Visarius can either choose to Mirror Image and Suffocate, or he can try to be a little bit trickier. I think Mirror Imaging your 4/4 is not necessarily the greatest Midnight or the greatest mirror image target, so you might even just want to trade with the champion here.
I think I would go for the mirror image, though. It's not like you're not gonna be afforded time to wait on this mirror image. Like if you draw more power, you're gonna want to slam a Midnight Gale or an Amulet and hope it up. Like Amulet doesn't do anything here.
It only forces a block from the champion, which admittedly forcing a block from a champion can prevent up to 4 damage to your face, but that's probably a moot point since you've already got a blocker.
The more interesting decision will be whether or not he blocks here. Again, you suspect they have a Rapid Shot, so I imagine Visarius won't be blocking here. He's got a Backlash in hand. He'll wait it out.
Yeah, we have a 4/3 swinging in and no block from Visarius.
Wow, and just the naked Rapid Shot for just the 4 extra damage takes Visarius to 13. I guess Child Roland's thinking, hey, I've got more burn in hand. Let's try and just use this spell for damage now. Visarius, though, opts to play a Amulet here rather than hold up backlash after that really aggressive use of Rapid Shot. I'm a little surprised by that.
Billy on his board, they're actually kind of trying to tempo each other out. Child Roland has an Annihilate in hand, along with another Annihilate and a Flame Blast. And Visarius is sitting on that Backlash, which is very good against the Flame Blast, so he's going to trade pretty well against Roland's stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, there's an Annihilate. He's at 9.
The big problem here is that those Beast Colors amulets are just going to keep triggering, so Roland really is not going to be able to deal with this board.
Yeah, this is pretty sweet now, because by getting that amulet down the last turn and this Spymaster surviving, every time it connects, it's going to make a 5/5.
I'm not sure I understand leaving one of the Spymasters back here, since you can equip the second Beast Colors amulet.
It's not really changing up lethal anyways, I think is his perspective of it. Not sure.
See a torch from Roland, and now Roland has 4 damage attack. That's not terrible.
I don't even know if you block there.
Yeah, and
I guess it gives your opponents more outs.
Yeah, the Oni Ronin is down with an Annihilate there. That's probably going to leave.
Yeah, that's going to put him in backlash range,
in bad spot,
or even amulet range. There you go, 6 damage.
Damage exact.
Yep. Oh boy, and Visarius takes it 3-1 on the backs of some mighty Spymasters and Beasts. Yeah. Really sweet, showing off the power of that interaction there.
Hybrid units, good stuff.
So I guess we'll check to see if we have any backup matches ready. Yep, we're getting some stuff rolling out real soon. All right, so yeah, it looks like we're going to have Bradykin, who we've seen earlier on Voto combo. He'll be going up against Voignamir, who is on Ricano plate. So we'll be getting into that action very soon.
You for that soon, folks.
Oh, we're live right now. That's even better.
Okay.
That's how soon it is.
Yay, the backup matches. All right, Bradykin versus Voignamir. We've got a 2-5 versus a 4. Yeah, 2-5 and a 4-4 versus 2 3-3s. Bradykin's sitting on a pretty decent board. Again, he's got the double Ascendance in hand, which is always a strong option, but he's so low on health right now that Voignamir can potentially really.
He's low on health, but so is Voignamir. Voignamir's at 2 now.
Even one flyer here is a really big deal. Voignamir can probably only kill one of them, and that's probably going to be game.
Yeah, even like plate plus vanquish there, I don't know if it does anything. And assuming that one of those 4/4 flyers was still in play, probably didn't have a vanquish. And yeah, that'll scoop it up. And that means the game goes 2-2. Yeah, it looks like the series is tied up. So we are going to game 5 here, catching it for the decider match for a lot of marbles. There's a lot of marbles on the line here.
All right. So Bradykin's going to do a little bit of sideboarding, make sure that his deck's set up well enough against the Ricano plate deck, but should be just a short period of time as we are moving in on him. So we've seen a lot of Bradykin's Voto combo deck, and it's actually been a pretty solid include against this current meta. Like, we've seen a lot of slower decks. He's obviously got to deal with the faster decks now that he's in the top 8. The decks like Burn Queen and Ricano Plate that managed to persevere against the Crystalline Chalices and other slower decks that have shown up in this tournament. But once he conquers those, he may actually be in a pretty good position to advance this game.
All right, so the game is underway. We've got some mulligan decisions going down. Bradykin looking at a hand with no time sources. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, Voignamir is still debating on this.
Yeah, we have Valkyrie Enforcer and Sandstorm Titan. There is a... Bradykin's hand is just a little bit awkward. There's no time here, and time is really what he needs to make the rest of the power work. If he can get Voice of the Speaker down on 2, then he's pretty golden to set up the rest of this board, but it's pretty hard to get to.
And there we go.
4. The progress fixes all problems. Always nice when you draw the perfect answer.
Yeah, I think Brady can normally not super happy to be on the draw versus an aggressive deck, but in this situation where he's really hoping to get as many shots as possible at those time sources, is super happy to be on the draw here and find what he's looking for. Still can't actually cast these Sandstorm Titans yet. Needs a second time source, but that first one's going to go a long way. Meanwhile, Voignamir, geez.
2 torches and 2 protects. His hand is kind of weird, like a little bit on the unaggressive side. It's more of like a controlling hand. I don't think that's going to go well for him overall.
It's got no units, so the second he finds one, he might, that could be a good thing. He'll hopefully, Champion of Glory, like just immediately protect it. I think I would just immediately protect it because if you want to tap out for the hammer, ideally going forward, but
yeah, he should definitely protect it at end of turn regardless. But Valkyrie Enforcer,
he'll protect it here.
And protect 2, you might throw as well if you don't draw the 4th power.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here, but Valkyrie Enforcer is a strong card as well. This is post-board, so Bradykin has access to Harsh Rules. Voignamir might be thinking about that, whether or not he plays Valkyrie Enforcer, but you're Ricano. I think you got to do what you got to do and just get aggressive.
Yep, silences the flyer. Bradykin has 2 Sandstorm Titans here to stand in the way, but if Voignamir draws his 4th power, then he can start attacking with a 6/6 quick draw, and that is not a card that is easily dealt with by Sandstorm Titan.
Bradykin opting to not swing with this silenced Valkyrie Enforcer. Not a huge fan of that. I guess it helps play around maybe like you don't have to block with your Sandstorm Titan if they don't have Vanquish, but
yeah, it does play around the one card that we know he has, which is Hammer of Might, but it's only if you want to sacrifice it. And at this point,
all right. So here comes the Harsh Rule. If you're Voignamir, you've got to protect one of your units. You've just got to decide which one. Do you want to protect the Flyer or the Endurance Quick Draw? He opts to protect the Flyer. I like that because even if it gets silenced, at least it's still a 3/3 base rather than a.
Yeah, I think strictly on board, Bradykin's looking at much better play against the Valkyrie than on the Ricano, but there's no way for Voignamir to know that. It's not like the 2 Great Parliaments and Sandstorm Titan are the most common cards in Bradykin's deck. Just
So Voignamir misses out on the chance to get a hammer into that Sandstorm Titan, and now Bradykin gets a really nice shot at stabilizing here. Gets to untap Temple Scribe into Mystic Ascendant, gets to play a 4/4 and hit his opponent here.
Yeah, and this is the worst thing about having a stall like this, is that when you're up against a Ricano type deck, you can just attack with Sandstorm Titan every turn. You don't care if it dies.
Bradykin almost played a time slip there. I'm thinking he's going to want to play this Mystic Ascendant before playing that time.
Yeah, Mystic Ascendant is a good card advantage here. It's certainly a strong card for him to be playing. Having a 6/6 on the board is just very, very solid. And I don't know about this attack here. We're gonna see.
I like the attack with Sandstorm Titan. I'm not sure about Al yet. The question: if you attack with Al, you're saying you're okay with trading Al for either the 3/3 flyer or the 2/2 quick draw, which are both hard cards to block and deal with. At least with this Sandstorm Titan, you're taking out at least 3 units. That's huge. You can deal with 1 unit.
It's gone from Voignamir's side.
I'm super okay with this attack. You don't have to attack it.
Hammer of Might will help him out, but Voignamir's already so far down on cards. His hand was just not good enough to save him, and Bradykin's going to be pretty likely to take this match back.
Yeah, Voignamir drew a good combination of cards. He just drew them in the wrong order, right? He drew his Oni Ronins eventually. He just wanted to start the game with them, not finish the game with them. And here, Bradykin's going to get to draw 2 cards this turn and play 3 flyers on this board. Whoo-wee.
Yeah, it's looking like a game for Voignamir. Bradykin's already got enough damage to push to just win, so should be it.
Yeah, Voignamir sees the writing on the wall, throws out the well played. Bradykin will ground that flyer and have 4 blockers back just to be sure. And this will tidy this one up. Cavalry comes out. The Cavalry's a little late, and that's the GGs. Bradykin gets this one 3-2 and moves on to the top 4.
Yeah, One Rakano deck knocked out of the tournament. Does Unearthlies remain? We will see soon in the quarterfinal round.
Yeah.
Semi-final round.
Yeah, semifinals. Let's see if we got all the. Yeah, all right. The Unearthly ECV match, I don't think has been reported yet, so we'll get the update on that real soon.
I don't believe we have any more backup games, so a short break here, and we'll come back for the semis.
All right. Perfect. So yeah, we'll wrap up that last game, and we'll see you all real soon.